2009 Kia Sportage LX 4-cylinder, all-wheel drive, stability track and all that jazz. Anywho, front brakes today, we're just going to be replacing the pads. So first thing you want to do is break your lug nuts free, jack up your vehicle, support it, and then remove your tire. Second thing you want to do is pop the hood, take your master cylinder cap off, compress your cylinder, remove your 2 caliper bolts, hang your caliper, remove your old pads, put your new pads on, put your caliper grease on, put your caliper back on, tighten it all back on, do the other side. Okay, so this is the driver's side. We've got our C-clamp. You can get a caliper spreader, but a C-clamp, if you have one and it's big enough, it'll work. What you want to do is you put this part onto your pad, your back on something secure that's not going to crush, and tighten it up. And if you look inside this little hole, you'll see the caliper piston actually compressing. So tighten this up. It looks to be like we're all the way in. So we can remove this. A 14mm to remove these bolts, caliper bolts. 1, 2. Pretty much once they're free, if they're in good condition, they'll come right out by hand. There's the bottom one. There's the top one. I forgot my little piece of coat hanger. We'll just wrap this once around the coil spring here. Take our caliper off. Run this through the hole. And just bring it up here out of the way. And wrap that once, just so it won't fall down. Okay, now that that's out of the way, we have our pads exposed. Just kind of shim it back and forth, get that out. There's the second one. If you don't know which goes where, the one with the little screamer here goes on the inside. So before I do anything else, I'm going to take my brake cleaner, just give her a spray in here, up in here, there, and there, to kind of get rid of the residue. We have our pads here, both sides. Open them up. Alright, so we have one with a screamer here, so that's going on this, and then we have one without, and that also goes up here. So I like to spray all new parts with a bit of brake cleaner, get the residue that they package it with off of it. Spraying my camera again, it's alright. Okay, just line them up, slide it in, just like so. Same thing with the back one. The curvature of the pad goes with the curvature of the rotor, so if it doesn't line up correctly, you know it's in the other way. Now that our pads are fully seated, get some of this caliper grease. Put that on our backing pad. I like to cover the whole thing. You only really need it where the caliper, these, oh, you can't see them, but the 2 pieces touch metal on metal. It's just to eliminate wheel noise. But if you cover it all, you can't go wrong. Yeah, a little bit of dirt will stick to it, but undercoating years ago, that's what used to be. Graphite grease hit dirt roads. Alright, so that one's covered. Now we'll do the back one. This one is going to make contact with the piston inside the caliper. When you apply the brakes, they vibrate and they create noise. Okay, so got that done. And we'll take our caliper, put that down, get this out of the way. Go figure. Alright, this happened with the rear as well. Okay. Your piston may not be fully seated, so if it's not, take your old pads, put your flat, well, it doesn't matter which, but put them in like this, put your C-clamp on and compress that all the way. Don't try and force it onto your over your pads, because what'll happen is you'll end up nicking something or hurting yourself. So we'll just do this. Tighten this up. There we go. It's all the way in now. Bring it out. Remove pads. Now she slides on like butter. Okay. Top bolt. Put it in by hand. Bottom bolt, same thing. Once again, take your 14mm. I only put about 25-30 pounds by feel onto these. You don't want to put them extremely tight. You'll just end up breaking them off. Okay, this side's done. So we can put the tire back on and we can tighten up the lugs as tight as we can get them before torquing them once it's on the ground. Just move some of this stuff out of the way so I can get at my tire. There, put our tire on, put our lugs on. Now that the tire's back on, I can lower this side down, torque it up, and jack up the other side and do the exact same job. Once both sides are done, don't forget to put your master cylinder cap back on and pump your brakes a few times to push your caliper piston back out to the proper setting and where it's supposed to be for everyday driving.